Imagine walking into any coffee shop and spotting that person in their 50s, laptop open, wearing a band t-shirt from the 90s, quietly working away without posting a single selfie. That's Generation X. And they've built a relationship with money that's so bizarre, so contradictory, yet so brilliant that economists are still trying to figure them out. Born between 1965 and 1980, Generation X watched the American dream get sold, repackaged, and then sold again. And while everyone debates millennials and their student loans or boomers and their pensions, this entire generation sits right in the middle, quietly managing wealth in ways that make absolutely no sense until you understand what broke their trust forever. Let's paint a picture. It's 1983. A 10-year-old is watching their father walk into the local bank. It's the same routine every 2 weeks, and it has been for 15 years. The teller knows his name, the system works. He's got job security, a pension that'll actually pay out, and a savings account that's earning real, tangible interest. The mortgage on the family home gets paid off in 12 years, right on schedule. Everything is logical. Everything makes perfect sense. Now, fast forward to 2008. That same kid is now 35. They followed every single rule, they did everything right, and they just watched their retirement account get sliced in half, while their supposedly secure company started handing out pink slips to 20-year veterans. The formula they were taught their entire lives? It was a complete and utter lie, and that single profound betrayal rewired their brain around every single financial decision they would make for the rest of their lives. And this is where Generation X gets truly fascinating. They are simultaneously terrified of retirement and the most aggressive savers in America. Data from the Trans-America Center shows a staggering 70% admit they're scared about their financial future. Yet these are the same people who maintain some of the highest contribution rates to retirement accounts. They don't trust the system one bit, but they feed it anyway. Why? Because what other choice do they have? This creates a psychological state called defensive pessimism. The operating manual is simple. Assume everything will collapse, prepare obsessively for that collapse, then maybe, just maybe, you'll be okay when disaster finally strikes. It's an emotionally exhausting way to live, but it has kept them financially alive through multiple economic crashes. Generation X pioneered the side hustle long before it had a trendy name on social media. Federal data shows they maintain higher rates of secondary income than both older and younger generations. But here's the twist that confuses everyone. Most of them keep their day jobs. They're not chasing some grand entrepreneurial dream of being the next tech billionaire. No, they're building escape routes, plural, while keeping the main exit clear. Your Gen X neighbor isn't flipping houses because they have a deep, burning passion for real estate. They're doing it because they vividly remember watching their coworker get escorted out with a cardboard box after 2 decades of loyalty. Think about it. It's 1995. You're watching your parents' company downsize, and people who worked there longer than you've been alive are suddenly, shockingly unemployed at 50 with no warning. That image burned itself into every Gen X brain. The rule became scripture. Never, ever depend on one income source. Not because you're ambitious, but because you're terrified. That consulting business, that rental property, that online store selling vintage t-shirts, it's not passion, it's insurance against corporate betrayal. This terror-driven self-reliance creates the strangest brand loyalty patterns marketers have ever seen. A Gen Xer will quit a Fortune 500 company via text message without a second thought, but they will drive 15 minutes across town for a coffee where the owner remembers their order. Research from Adobe shows they're 34% more likely than younger generations to stick with brands from their youth, even when cheaper, more convenient alternatives exist. And the psychology behind it makes perfect sense. Institutions betrayed them repeatedly. Corporations, the government, the stock market. But people? People haven't, not in the same way. Or at least when an individual disappoints you, there's a person to hold accountable. When a corporation does it, you get a severance package and a form letter apologizing for the inconvenience. So they're still buying the same brand of jeans they wore in high school. They're listening to the same bands. They're using products they trusted when they were 16. It's not because they're stuck in the past. It's because those things never lied to them about pension security or job stability. A pair of Levi's is just a pair of Levi's. It never promised more than that. Now, here's where their behavior gets truly brilliant. They maintain high savings rates and robust emergency funds, but they also spend more on experiences than any other generation. Event industry data shows they drop around $3,000 annually on concerts, travel, and live events, more than anyone else in actual dollars. They're financially paranoid and experientially extravagant at the exact same time. And it's the exact same psychology driving both behaviors. They save obsessively because systems can't be trusted. They spend on experiences because possessions can't be trusted either. Think about it. Your house can go underwater. Your car loses half its value the moment you drive it off the lot. Your carefully collected possessions mean nothing when the economy tanks. But that concert you went to in 1994, that trip to Europe you took after college, nobody can repossess those memories. The bank can't foreclose on an experience. You can't lose your best moments in a market crash. It's a profound realization. They figured out that in an unstable economy, experiences provide a far better emotional return on investment than things. And since nothing else seemed permanent, at least the memories were theirs to keep forever. Their relationship with financial advisors reveals another layer of this. Data shows they're the least likely generation to use traditional financial planning services. They'd much rather research everything themselves, build their own elaborate spreadsheets, and manage their own portfolios. But here's the kicker. They're also the most anxious about whether they're doing it correctly. They don't want the help, but they're terrified of making mistakes. Generation X came of age when you could actually learn complex topics from books and just figure things out independently. They're the last generation that truly believes self-education is not just possible, but preferable. But they also watched what happened when their parents blindly trusted experts with their retirement savings. So they'll educate themselves, they'll verify everything twice, and they will never, ever trust anyone's advice without doing their own exhaustive research first. It's not arrogance, it's pure self-defense. Here's a statistic that surprises everyone. Generation X carries the highest total debt of any generation, according to credit reporting data, but they're also the most strategic about it. They'll take on a $400,000 mortgage without blinking, but they will refuse to carry a $2,000 credit card balance. The difference is control and predictability. A mortgage has fixed payments and a clear end date. You know exactly what you're dealing with. Credit card debt is financial quicksand. It never ends. They watched it destroy families in the 80s and 90s. They saw the devastating consequences during the 2008 crisis. The lesson wasn't never borrow money. The lesson was only borrow what you can map to completion. So they'll leverage debt for assets they believe will appreciate: real estate, business investments, strategic moves. But buying furniture on credit or charging a vacation, that's the kind of debt that kills you slowly, and they learned that lesson very early. One final behavior that seems old-fashioned but is actually genius. Gen Xers maintain physical records. Research shows 61% keep paper files of important documents, compared to just 34% of younger generations. They're not technologically illiterate. They built the internet infrastructure we all use today. But they also remember a time when companies lost digital records, when entire databases crashed, when online promises simply evaporated into thin air. They trust technology to work most of the time. They trust paper to work all of the time. It's a principle called redundancy by design. A digital banking app? Absolutely. The paper statements from that app filed away? Also absolutely. Cloud storage? Sure. A fireproof safe in the basement? Obviously. It seems excessive until you've lived through multiple system failures and learned that your backup plans need their own backup plans. The money psychology of Generation X reveals something profound about human adaptation. They're not confused or contradictory. They are specifically perfectly adapted to an economy that promised them stability and delivered nothing but chaos instead.
They are financial survivalists with retirement accounts. They trust nothing, they prepare for everything, and they show up anyway, because what other choice is there? Remember that kid in the bank in 1983 learning that hard work equals security? They absorbed that lesson completely. They just also learned that the system changes the rules whenever it's convenient. So now they play the game, while never for a second forgetting that it's rigged. Their money habits aren't random. They are carefully calculated responses to a world that shaped them through repeated economic betrayals. And honestly, when you understand their history, their strategies make perfect sense. They aren't pessimistic, they're realistic, and their quiet, unselfied success proves that sometimes the best financial strategy is trusting nothing and preparing for everything.